get this up. Wait for, let's see, record. There we go. Now wait for the screen to show up. Start the report. There we go. Hi, everybody. Let me say hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. Hi, everybody. I know it's nobody really here yet, but that's okay. We're going to start the live stream anyway. There's a lot to talk about. I'm going to try to keep this to an hour, hopefully half an hour. Right. That's not going to happen. But we'll give it a try. There's a lot to talk about. And since I did it earlier, hi, John. How's Malibu doing these days? Hi, Shari. Hi, dear. Sweet Petunia. Yeah. So there's a lot to talk about. You know, I wouldn't like to start off the POTUS report without a good troll for the liberals out there. So how about we start with a new video I found, which I think everybody's really going to love this. If you are a fan of President Trump, if you like the president, you think he's doing a good job, you think he's the right man for the job. We're very pro-Trump on the GoldFish Report because it's pro-common sense. And so, that's why I do these POTUS reports. So I thought that I would just, I came across something really entertaining. I love people that put memes and all kinds of things together. So I'm going to screen share this just to get our report off tonight because I love it. And I think it's great to troll the the Democrats. So let's do this. Here you go.
Oh, forget this.
Look out, give the kid some room. He's taking over again.
Right.
All right, go. Hey, go. Hey, keep going. Hey, go. Right on.
Go POTUS.
Go.
Okay, man.
That's it. That's our president winning, all right, isn't it? So I thought I would start off the report with that just to troll the Democrats a little bit before we get started. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Thanks for joining me tonight. Yep. We have a lot to talk about. Polyester shirts. Yeah, John Travolta was an amazing dancer then, wasn't he? That was amazing. But, it's POTUS now. And you just got to love it. And I think we're, so thankful to have him as our president right now. And I'm grateful to be doing these reports. Let's continue because we have a lot to go over tonight. The president's doing a lot of wonderful things. The president today was at Walter Reed Medical Center visiting recipients of the Purple Heart. There was no press allowed there, but I do have this one photo of the president that I can share. And he was wearing a mask with a presidential seal on it. So he was there to, it's a private ceremony, and it wasn't meant to be a photo op or, a campaign op or anything like that. So he did wear the masks out of respect for all the people there who, excuse me, may have, COVID or be in a compromised health condition. Okay, so that's but that's where the president was today, among other places as well. So let me just screen share a little bit more. I wanted to just, while we're on the Twitter page, just talk about this Wayfair situation because you have this one anonymous anon here who seemed to have gotten the definition of wayfair, right? A stray person or animal, especially a homeless child, something found with an owner and especially by chance. An extremely thin and unusually young woman. Boy, fair. The price charged to transport a person, a paying passenger on a public conveyance, range of food, diet, material provided for use, consumption, or enjoyment. I think this is the beginning of the end for Wayfair. And what's really funny is that I'm going to screen share my email, which I don't usually do, but I want to show you what everybody sees is when you see ads by Google show up in your email and your Gmail account if you have one. And right here you see Wayfair. Here they are, closeout deals. Yeah, you better close out all right because you're pretty much done. Yeah, you can see I got all the news reports from the president from the White House. So there's a lot going on, and I think we need to be, keep our eyes open. It's not a surprise to us. I don't think it's a surprise what's going on. It's sad. In some ways, it's sad. It's shocking, but it's all coming out now. They really said. Now, we know that the president, one of the big news of the day, and I don't like to start out with today's news because I like to work up to it, but we know that the president just commuted the sentence of his longtime advisor and associate, Roger Stone. And I think there were some people who what happened? Did I freeze? Looks like my screen froze, didn't it? Wonderful. Okay, it's all right. What are you going to do? Yeah, so, and just for comparison's sake, I thought I would screen share a list of commuted sentences that Barack Obama had. I think there was well over 1,000 of them. And it was, people who were violent, firearms, drug trafficking, possession with the intent to distribute cocaine. Let's take a look. So anybody that has a problem with the fact, you commute a sentence, it's a pardon. He pardoned the guy, right? So it's not like, it's not like what's his name? Flynn, where Flynn wasn't guilty of anything, right? So Flynn has to be dealt with differently. He's not a pardon because he wasn't convicted of anything and he wasn't guilty of anything. So it just needs to be dropped. But here's all these people, and here's their offenses. This is pardons from 2011 to 2017. So when Obama took office, right? And these are a lot of people who did cocaine, a lot of drug people, distribution of MDMA, a lot of that. Conspiracy to launder money, conspiracy to manufacture and distribute methamphetamine. What did Roger Stone do? He lied? What did he do? Different. Excuse me. So, possession with the intent to distribute cocaine. And I have to say, look at distribute methamphetamine. These are all drug dealers. And he let them all out. Cocaine, methamphetamine, let them all out on the street. Money laundering. So, let's just keep things into perspective when we're talking about, who the president chooses to pardon. Okay. So, and that's one of the stories that we have today. I'm just going to go to a video and share that with you because the president was at Southcom, which is Southern Command in South Florida. They were discussing their operations on, drug smuggling and their successes in apprehending drug smugglers and traffickers. And so here's just a few clips that the president has regarding his visit there at Southcom. You can listen to what he has to say.
On April 1st of this year, I announced the launch of a powerful U.S. military and law enforcement operation to combat the flow of illegal drugs across the Western Hemisphere. Today, I'm pleased to be with Admiral Craig Fowler and his team, done an incredible job, at the U.S. Southern Command Headquarters to provide an update on this incredible, successful effort. On April 1st of this year,
So that's not the only one. There's another one I'm going to screen share as well, because there's actually a few of them here where he talks about.
In just 12 weeks, Southcom's surge operation conducted with key regional partners has resulted in more than 1,000 arrests and the interdiction of 120 metric tons. I can only tell you that's a lot of narcotics worth billions and billions of dollars. We're determined to keep dangerous drugs out of the country and away from our children. We're securing our seas. We're securing our borders. This is a new operation, not been done before. And this operation has been incredibly successful.
Yeah, so here you have, the contrast is unmistakable, right? Here he says, last year, 70,000 precious American lives were taken because of the poison the cartels bring into our country. Well, let's listen to the president.
Last year, 70,000 precious American lives were taken because of the poison the cartels bring into our country. Under my administration, drug overdose deaths fell for the first time in nearly 30 years, and they fell fairly substantially. Unfortunately, the shutdowns caused by the China virus have led to a recent rise in overdose deaths, still below the level that they were at, but nevertheless, it went up a little bit. This is one of the reasons that we're working to safely and responsibly reopen our country, reopen our schools, get our country going again.
Yeah, and there's more about reopening schools I'm just going to review. The president's been trying to dismantle the cartels. So, the contrast is quite obvious here. You have one president who's letting all the criminals out of jail, and then you have another president who's concerned about making sure that our streets are safe, that our country is safe, our borders are safe, and that the traffickers and the drug cartel are not on the street poisoning our children. So here he is again talking about, he's got the U.S. Space Force flag behind him. That was interesting. And it would be because Southern Command, you would have be close to Kennedy Space Center, right? So let's listen to what he has to say here.
Our message is clear. You will not threaten our citizens. You will not poison our children. And you will not infiltrate our borders. We will find you, we will stop you, and we will put everybody that we find behind bars if you're lucky. The results of this historic international campaign have been absolutely phenomenal. This joint operation has resulted in the interdiction of more than 120 metric tons. Does anyone know how much that is of illicit narcotic?
There you have it. So we're definitely, the president, as an amazing commander-in-chief as he is, having great successes with the whole drug situation. We don't need that, folks. We don't need these drugs in our street. We don't need it. Hold on a second. I just lost my page. Hold on. Okay, here we go. And let's also see what the president's been tweeting today as well. Yeah, actually, there's a lot of photos here of the president with DEA evidence, just bricks and bricks and bricks, stacks of bricks of these drugs that that the command has apprehended. Sorry. I'm going back to the Twitter page for a minute, because what do we have here? The president saying, I love Goya foods. And of course, everybody knows what's happened recently, right? What happened was Goya, the president of Goya, came out in support of President Trump, and then the Democrats were calling for a boycott of Goya foods. How ridiculous, right? I think so many people, had to come out, and here the president is coming out saying how much he loves Goya food, right? So, in light of that, I have a little secret that I wanted to share with everybody. Yeah, that's 2,200 pounds. Yeah, exactly. What's going on in the chat room? Everybody behaving? I hope so. Okay, so I wanted to just let everybody know that I have a little secret. And I'm a really good cook, I think. I'm better at cooking than I am growing food. Trust me. But I'm gonna give away a secret that I never do, but I'm gonna do it. And and this is appropriate for our POTUS report given what we just looked at, because if you want your food to taste really, really good, and no matter what you're making, if you're, making veggie burgers, or you're making chicken cutlets, or you're making whatever you're making, this is my secret that I'm going to share with you all. This is Goya adobo. And this is the secret to your food tasting marvelous. It really is. This product here, this Goya product here, adobo, will make it will make your food, it's like as if you were doing something really special to the food, but it's really adobo. And they're doing, it's a special seasoning, but it's amazing. If you put this on before, like if you're going to make chicken cutlets, or you're going to make some tofu or whatever, if you put this on before you bread it and you do everything else and then saute it, you will have such an amazing, I mean, it's really going to be amazing. And people are going to be like, wow, you're such a good cook. And this is the real secret right here. So this is my secret. I wanted to let everybody know, Goya adobo. So we support Goya because they support President Trump, because they are reasonable people who will come out and say they support the president. So go get your Goya. So I just wanted everybody to, yeah, of course she uses it because she knows how to cook. That's why your Filipino wife uses it. She knows what's good. Hey, that might mean that I just gave away a lot of people's secrets. That's okay. Now you have to tell her, Freeman King, you're going to have to tell her her secret now, okay? Because you really don't know if somebody's like whipping up all these different ingredients that make it taste good, or if you're just using the only one that you actually need, and that's Goya adobo, the red cap. They have different mixtures and flavors, but we have to show our support. Definitely, we're not boycotting. We are so in support of Goya and their wonderful food. So that's all I have to say about that. So anybody who wants to try to boycott the company, I think that you're going to, again, fail. You're going to fail. All right, let's take a quick peek at what was going on a little earlier in the week. I already did a midweek report, and I don't want to really spend too much time on it, but just to refresh, I'm going to go through this very quickly. Obviously, everybody saw the President Trump speech at Mount Rushmore. It was, an amazing speech. And I mean, he really felt the need to have to educate the liberals, right? And I think he actually retweeted, or Q retweeted educating liberals. And I think they took his Twitter down, right? This guy that has this Twitter handle, this Twitter channel, educating liberals. But that's what the president had to do. He had to explain who these people were on the mountain and why they were on the mountain, why they were significant on the mountain. I'm not going to go over it. Forefathers tribute. Here, there's 10 top moments from his speech. You can come to the goldfishreport.blogspot.com and you can come and check it out. Click on any of these links and you can see the video clips to that clip there. And here is a picture of the president with, of course, the Mount Rushmore in the background. So again, I don't go over I'm just going to go over the highlights right now, folks. So I'm not going to kind of go over everything, but sorry for scrolling, but that's how it goes. So, we're still battling for America. I hope everybody realizes that we're at war and that we are in, we have a real wartime president right now. And this is a very unconventional war, as we've been hearing for, predictions, and who was it? Even George Orwell. And it was, other, I would say, visionaries, right, who foresaw that the next world war was going to be a war of ideology. It wasn't going to be government against government. It was going to be a war of ideology. So that's the invisible enemy that the president's talking about. But we are at war, and he certainly is a wartime president. And boy, is he equipped. He is completely equipped for this. And he's punching back at the totalitarian left. And so that's what he was doing. And so you can come here and take a look at all the things that the president was talking about there. The president also recognized National Air Traffic Control Day And thank God, because those people are probably so busy. I mean, I have the picture in my mind of, that of scene in Airplane where the air traffic controller guy was like so stressed out over what was going on. He's like sniffing glue and pulling out the plug of the lights of the runway, and you think they're that stressed out, and they probably are. But also the photos of the week. You can come here and take a look at these photos. And the president had Spirit of America showcase there at the White House, so you can come and take a look at all of that as well. There was a lot of things going on last week that I reported about earlier in the week, so you can go and check out our midweek report for that. But here's the president passing by Mount Rushmore on Marine One, and so that's really a wonderful sight to see. Of course, here we have our beautiful Blue Angels flying over Mount Rushmore as well, and folks, we won't have that if we allow the Democrats to tear down this country. We're not going to have, the opportunity to be proud of our armed services. And I think it's not business as usual anymore. You don't see President Trump going in and starting wars like every other president did. He's trying to end wars. He's making peace deals. He's trying to negotiate peace everywhere he's going. But there's enemies. We have enemies in the world, and not just the invisible enemy, but there are enemies. There are people like China who are really trying to work against us. And there's other news to report that I think the Department of State is issuing a warning to U.S. citizens about going to China and being arbitrarily detained. And who knows for how long and for whatever reason. So we need to be very careful. Anybody traveling to China right now, you have to be very, very careful. So here's the president and the first lady, beautiful pictures. Okay, I'm going to keep going. And we also were talking about, there was a summit on reopening the schools and what they want to do in order to keep the schools safe. And they better not, have these kids wearing masks in school, because there's no way that this is going to happen. There's more and more people every day coming out with tests regarding and people who are in the hospital sharing videos of them being sick as a result of wearing masks. People are reporting, and I cannot independently verify this just yet, but I am seeing reports and some evidence of people who, hi, New Zealand. Oh, I'm so glad you're joining us. There's people from New Zealand joining us. Wonderful. I hope oh my God, you guys gave up your guns. I'm sorry you did that. We're not going to do that here. I'll tell you, we learned our lesson, because now we see what's going on in New Zealand, right? We see that they've, it was kind of predicted that they would, begin these draconian measures. They would use these false flag operations to take your rights away. And how are you going to protect yourself, right? It's scary. It's really scary. But thank you for joining us. Our prayers are with you. Stay strong. And let's continue. So what as I was saying, that yes, the missing school has a lasting effect on children. Yes, it does. I just want to make sure my volume's on. Do you know how many times I started reports and my mute button was on? Okay, so let's take a look. Yeah, so as I was saying, I don't want my kids going back if they have to wear a mask. Social distancing, I think if it's really that severe, keep them doing the long distance learning for a couple months until they're sure that that the virus is eradicated. It isn't going to last forever, this virus. It has to die off like all of them do. So yeah, we want to be careful, but I don't know. The school my kids go to they're probably all going to be infected with it. Who knows? The public school. What are you going to do? So President Trump and his administration know that schools are a crucial part of every American community. More than $13 billion from the President's CARES Act is dedicated to helping schools navigate the extraordinary challenges presented by the coronavirus pandemic. Today's White House summit brought together health and education officials from across government and society, including Dr. Deborah Birx, no, that's not reassuring, Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar, and Education Secretary Betsy DeVos. Panels featured state and local leaders, healthcare professionals, and school administrators, teachers, and parents. So we're going to go into more detail about what exactly that they want the kids to do. I don't think I have a lot of those details, but I don't think they have them themselves, but we'll see. No. I mean, their concern is here while children, parents, I think the biggest thing is parents want to get back to work and they want their kids to go back to school because maybe the kids are, driving the parents crazy, whatever. But, that's life. Now, they're not really talking about the details here about what they want for the kids, but they do want the kids. They say when they're away from school, schools, educators are unable to efficiently address important learning deficits. So that is true. Child and adolescent physical or sexual abuse, substance use, depression, and suicidal ideation. As much as they do that anyway, and whatever. But yeah, we'll see. What they're looking at is considerations on how to assess risk of in-person classes, class sizes, behaviors, and cleaning techniques, and provide guidance to help schools determine the necessity of conducting screenings, tests, and contact tracing. Okay, no way. No way. You're not testing my kids and you're not going to contact trace them. This is tyranny. All right, I digress. Get the children back in school. Don't force my kid to take a test or to take a vaccine because that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm going to come right on this report and I'm going to tell everybody this is the point of no return, folks. So we're in our last battle for America here. But everybody has to be fighting, not only the 3% in the American Revolution, because our overall population was lower then. And it was harder to communicate. We didn't have phones. We didn't have internet. We didn't have all this stuff. Now there's no reason for people to not be participating. Every one of us has to be fighting for this country because the other side has all of their minions fighting to destroy it. So we have to be on the side of winning and keeping America great. There's no other alternative. Okay, so Wednesday, July 8th, we have the statement from the press secretary regarding Supreme Court ruling on religious liberty. According to the press secretary, today's Supreme Court ruling is a big win for religious freedom and freedom of conscience. Almost a decade ago, the Obama administration attempted to force employers, including religious nonprofits like the Little Sisters of the Poor, an order of nuns, to provide contraceptive coverage to their employees in violation of their religious beliefs. Twice before in this ongoing saga, the Supreme Court has blocked these overly rigid and misguided efforts and sided with religious freedom. Today, it has once again vindicated the conscious right of people of faith. All right, I'm not going to touch that right now because I have some concerns about it. I mean, look, if you were like, look at all these pedophile priests, right? I mean, what if they're doing this to girls? What if nuns were doing this to girls? I mean, with a priest, I mean, don't you want are they raping them? I mean, were they getting pregnant? I don't know. It was like what's this John of God or something was doing down in Brazil. I don't know. We just need to scrutinize these people. We can't just blindly trust anybody anymore, right, folks? We've done that. We've been there. We've been betrayed. They've broken our most sanctious, our most sacred relationship with the innocent children. Have been so horribly brutalized and molested, and it's amazing that we have any adults today that are well adjusted due to the fact, for those who have had to suffer through that kind of abuse. And it was because I think a lot of healing, people could do a lot more healing if they were held to, to justice, if there was some sort of justice for the crimes that these people committed against them. People just want justice, and then you can start to heal. It won't take away what happened, but you need to have these people held accountable for the things that they do. Okay, so let's keep going. So we know that the president of Mexico, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, was at the White House this week, and they were discussing long-term strategies to target illegal migration. So decreasing illegal immigration, historic cooperation between the United States and Mexico recently led to President Trump's NAFTA replacing United States, Canada, so the USMCA, which took effect 1 week ago today. So in case you haven't heard, NAFTA is dead, and those jobs that were shipped overseas are coming back thanks to the USMCA, which has been in effect for 1 week now. There was a joint declaration signing at the White House, and we'll probably see that in some of the photos of the week. We also have a presidential message on the 50th anniversary of the federal policy of Indian self-determination. Now, I read this in our midweek report, so I won't read it again, but you can go to the blog and check out that earlier one, or you can go and read it for yourself. We also have memorandum on the BUILD Act, and this is utilization of investments leading to Development Act of 2018. He's certified to the appropriate congressional committee that the provision of the support under Title II of the Act in a less developed country with an upper middle income economy furthers the national economic or foreign policy interests of the United States. So this is kind of just this is delegation of authority under the Better Utilization of Investments Leading to Development Act. This is some policy, lingo mumbo, right? What does it really mean? We'll take a closer look at it and see what exactly how this applies to us, because this policy lingo doesn't really tell us everything, does it? So we'll be looking into that more. You can look at the Federal Register. You can go there and find out more information as well. Okay, and of course the president is talking about, this is a press conference talking about safely reopening schools. Of course, this is a big deal now that it's the summertime, and we need to, really kind of get this issue down and find out where things are going. Deaths are way down from this horrible China virus, the president said, and it's a disgrace that it happened. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. Jobs are record-setting, stock markets record-setting, and there's support for the schools and universities, but it looks like the president. All right, let me just continue on this for just a minute. So the vaccines are doing well, the therapeutics are doing well, whatever. I'm not so sure, I would be online for a vaccine, but because again, how can we trust the government when we see all this corruption being exposed? How can we trust them? And that's really when the government lacks, loses the public's trust, like when the judiciary, we're seeing this disaster play out with General Flynn. This Judge Sullivan will not do his job. He was already ordered a mandamus, a writ of mandamus was granted to General Flynn, mandating this lower judge to do what he's supposed to do, and he refuses to do it. But they police themselves. Did you know that? The courts police themselves, folks. And that kind of power, unchecked, there's no checks and balances there, folks. There's none. And we can see it playing out. Now, I'm sorry for scrolling again, but look at this. Yeah, look, I'm not even going to go there. Sorry. Okay, so let's talk about, hold on. Maybe I will. Hold on a second. No, that is the end. Okay. So the president has approved disaster declarations from severe storms. So there's quite a few of them. There's one for Michigan. There's other ones here. Hold on. Let me just find them, and I'll call them out as I come across them. President Trump expands Hispanic Prosperity Initiative. So President Trump just signed an executive order expanding the White House Hispanic Prosperity Initiative, which helps every other member of our country's proud Hispanic community prosper and achieve the American dream. The order will encourage pro-growth, pro-family, and pro-community policies such as school choice, personalized learning, family engagement, civic education, and more. Hispanic Americans are not only living the American dream, but their incredible efforts are unlocking the American dream for citizens all across our land. Let's just see if we can listen to a quick report, a quick video on this.
Hi, this is Jenny Sivia-Corn, Deputy Assistant to the President here at the White House. We're very excited because the President just signed an executive order called the White House Hispanic Prosperity Initiative, which promotes access to educational and economic success for our Hispanic community. We know why that's important. Hispanics are the fastest growing minority community in the country, and this initiative makes sure that we are paying attention to what Hispanics need most. It creates a commission of 20 Hispanic leaders, diverse leaders from across the country with a chairman, and also hires a full-time executive director to ensure that we are making sure we're looking at the whole community. It includes the Department of Education, Small Business Administration, the Department of Labor, the Department of Commerce, and also HUD. So we're very excited that the President has made this commitment to our Hispanic community.
There you have it. President he's awesome, you know? He grew up in New York City. It's a melting pot. It's like everybody matters. Everybody matters to the president, and that's the truth. That's the truth. You don't grow up in Queens and you're anti-Latino or anti-Hispanic, anti-Black. You just can't. You just can't. So I don't know anybody that does. I mean, it's not that many that do, but I don't really think you can that much. How's everybody doing? Oh my. Wow. I'm just checking in with our live chat. How's everybody doing? Yep. Okay, in New Zealand, we have found out of the disappearance of over 1,000 children within the state care. Yep. The new covert laws passed unlawfully allows the police to enter, search any home without a warrant. Oh my God, you see? That's why they took your guns. Folks, child trafficking is real. Pizzagate is real. What's happening? Ghislaine Maxwell this week was arrested. She was one of the sealed indictments that was unsealed. Hi, Slim. How you doing? Nice to see you. There's every day the Department of Justice puts out press releases of all the people that are being arrested, and all the other indictments. They're just not as big a name as her. But this is going to take it all down, folks. I mean, once she starts talking, they believe. The rumor, the word on the grapevine is that she's talking. And today there's reports, I think, by True Pundit or Gateway Pundit is reporting that that she's claiming she has videos of politicians having sex with children. Well, that's it, folks. This is gonna blow up. And it's tough. It's tough to see this, but people have to see it. People have to see it. You have to confront it, folks, so we never let it happen again. We just have to. It's difficult, but we have to do it. Okay, so Hispanic American workers and families have thrived under President Trump's agenda. Let me just go here. There we go. Screen share that so everybody can see it. Before the coronavirus pandemic, the Hispanic unemployment rate reached a low record of 3.9%, and it remains under 5% for 23 consecutive months. In 2018, the poverty rate for Hispanic Americans reached its lowest level on record, and since 2016, nearly 611,000 Hispanic Americans have been lifted out of poverty. As the coronavirus spread from China across the globe, President Trump worked tirelessly to ensure that all Americans could get back to work as quickly as possible. As a result, Hispanic employment increased by a sum of more than 2.1 million in May and June. This administration won't stop until every American is back on the job. That's good. America will continue to be the land of opportunity for our incredible Hispanic community, as well as for every other American family. School choice is a big part of that vision. Nearly 1/3 of all students in U.S. public charter schools are Hispanic. President Trump is expanding educational opportunities for these students and others, both with today's executive order as well as through restoring local control and ending federal overreach in education more broadly. Community development is another crucial component. Under President Trump, new jobs and investments have poured into nearly 9,000 designated opportunity zones, which together are home to more than 9 million Hispanic Americans. President Trump is lifting up and empowering empowering Hispanic Americans. But, Betsy DeVos, she's got to get rid of this Common Core. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what she's been doing for I don't know. I don't think she was there from the very beginning. Maybe she was. I have to go back and double check that. But she's got to get rid of this Common Core and this education, this liberal education to, teach kids to self-stimulate and to teach kids about anal sex and to teach kids to shove the LGBTQ whatever down into the face and down the throats of all the kids. This is too much. I don't want my kids being confused. You have a sexual preference, keep it to yourself. Mind your business. Just keep it to yourself. Why do you have to wear it like it's a badge? Why do you have to wear? Who cares? Do I have to wear, a heterosexual badge? Where's my flag and color? Come on, just keep it to yourself. Just that's all. Because and they say they do it that way because they need to advertise to attract the other people. But by doing it, and I've been told this by gay people that this is what, and dear friends of mine who happen to be gay, just say, that's how else are you going to let you find someone else who's gay if you don't advertise it, so to speak. So that's what it's about. It's not really about equality. I guess if it was more about, if they had more gay bars still open or gay coffee houses, maybe they wouldn't need to do that. But that's what I'm told. So and here's the executive order. Here's the statement from the president regarding the executive order. Not passing judgment on the people. It's just, having it in my kid's face is not right. The kids and, the transgender stuff is, I just hope they realize it's a social engineer by Hollywood, and there's nothing good that's going to come of it. I've seen videos of kids, and I should do a special report on this, but I've seen videos of kids absolutely crying, hysterically regretting their transitions and things like that. And it's just like, adults who have come back and say, it was a mistake, they were just lost at the time. Maybe they just, it is called body dysmorphic disorder, right? Or gender dysmorphic disorder or something like that. But, is there counseling available to help people kind of deal with those issues? Probably not. Nothing's within reach of people who don't have, access to funds. You're poor in this country, you're just shit out of luck, especially in the legal system. You get no rights. Nobody has rights anyway, because we're all, surety for the globalist debt via our Social Security card and via the Admiralty law system. So we're all screwed. Okay, so let's move along. I'm not going to read the transcript to this. Let's go. Okay, here we have a press briefing by Kayleigh McEnany again. Yeah, and here she says, there's been no greater champion for rectifying racial and income disparities in America's education system than President Trump. Every child, regardless of race, income level, or zip code, deserves an equal playing field of opportunity to access the American dream. Oh, gee, it's raining and I hear it pouring in my house. I have damage still on my house from Hurricane Sandy, and it's all tied up in this litigation, and it's worse and worse. And I'm breathing all of this black mold, and it's making me so sick. Sometimes I don't even feel up to doing reports, but there's this black mold in my house, and there's constant water damage, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. There's no justice for women in this court system. You have to be loaded, and if you have an opinion in the public that criticizes the judiciary whatsoever, they're going to destroy your life and they're going to ruin you financially. And that's exactly what they do. They've done it to me, and they do it to other women. This is how it works in America because of the people who have been in control. So that has to come to an end. I'd like to see that come to an end very soon. Yeah, I got kicked out of the library here in Cabal Central, Arizona. Did you? Okay. Sorry, I'm just checking in with our live chat. I'm sorry. Quite honestly, folks, that's why I had to come back from the White House. I was sick with pneumonia when I was reporting during George Bush's funeral. Of course, there's probably some other really nasty things there as well, energetically and you know, but I had pneumonia like twice that year, and I just couldn't shake it, and it turned out it was fungal, so it was from mold. It wasn't from like catching a regular bacterial or even viral pneumonia. And I have to say, if it wasn't for his Dr. Werner, phew, boy, I would have been in bad shape. He's taking such good care of me. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I know you're going to vote for President Trump, right? Adam, no, it's not Adam. Is it Adam? No, it might be Adam or somebody else that comments in every video that they're going to vote for President Trump. That's good, though. All right, let's keep moving along. Let's see what we have. Yeah, they're trying to reach like herd immunity and everything. And yeah, this is nasty stuff, this virus. But, we have to, we need to be smart about it. And, how do you find out? How do you determine whether this thing has died out or not? Look, folks, we know that there's been some false reporting. Even Dr. Burke stood up there and said that if you die with COVID, you're going to be considered a COVID death, even though you didn't die of COVID. And Dr. Judy Mikovits says you don't die with the virus, you die of a virus. So it's like, they're upping the numbers. It's who do we trust? When you lose faith in your government and your leaders, then it's time. It's time for us to take, this country back, and that's what we need to do. So let's keep going. Okay, this is a statement from the president regarding Roger Stone. Let's take a look. Statement from the press secretary regarding executive grant of clemency for Roger Stone. Today, President Donald Trump signed an executive grant of clemency commuting the unjust sentence of Roger Stone Jr. Roger Stone is a victim of the Russia hoax that that the left and its allies in the media perpetrated for years in an attempt to undermine the Trump presidency. There was never any collusion between the Trump campaign or the Trump administration with Russia. Such collusion was never anything other than a fantasy of partisans unable to accept the result of the 2016 election. The collusion delusion spawned endless and farcical investigations conducted at great taxpayer expense, looking for evidence that did not exist. As it became clear that these witch hunts would never bear fruit, the special counsel's office restored to process-based charges leveled at high-profile people in an attempt to manufacture the false impression of criminality lurking below the surface. These charges were the product of recklessness, born of frustration and malice. This is what the courts do to people. This is what they do when they think that you're, in any way a threat to them, to their power, to anything, even if they don't like you, even if they don't like something you say, right? They use their full power and they abuse it under color of law, folks. And this is what happened to Roger Stone and, of course, to General Flynn as well. This is why the out-of-control Mueller prosecutors, desperate for splashy headlines to compensate for a failed investigation, set their sights on Mr. Stone. Roger Stone is well known for his nearly 50 years of work as a consultant for high-profile Republican politicians, including President Ronald Reagan, Senator Bob Dole, and many others. He is also well known for his outspoken support for President Donald Trump and opposition to Hillary Clinton. Mr. Stone was charged by the same prosecutors from the Mueller investigation, tasked with finding evidence of collusion with Russia. Not looking for the truth, but finding evidence, right? Inventing perhaps evidence, I would say. I would go as far as saying that, because no such evidence exists. However, they could not charge him for any collusion-related crime. Instead, they charged him for his conduct during their investigation. The simple fact is that if the special counsel had not been pursuing an absolutely baseless investigation, Mr. Stone would not be facing time in prison. In addition to charging Mr. Stone with alleged crimes arising solely from their own improper investigation, the Mueller prosecutors also took pains to make a public and shameful spectacle of his arrest. Yes, they did. Mr. Stone is a 67-year-old man with numerous medical conditions who had never been convicted of another crime, but rather then allow him to surrender himself, they used dozens of FBI agents with automatic weapons and tactical equipment, armored vehicles, and an amphibious unit to execute a pre-dawn raid of his home, where he was with his wife of many years. Notably, CNN cameras were present to broadcast these events live to the world, even though they swore they were not notified. Right. Exactly. Of course they weren't. They lie through their teeth. They're just pathological liars, aren't they? It was just a coincidence that they were there together with the FBI early in the morning. Just a coincidence. Just passing by, doing those routine drive-bys at 5 a.m. Oh, God, it's just so in our faces, people. My goodness. Not only was Mr. Stone charged by overzealous prosecutors pursuing a case that never should have existed and arrested in an operation that never should have been approved, but there were also serious questions about the jury in the case. The forewoman of his jury, for example, concealed the fact that she's a member of the so-called liberal resistance to the Trump presidency. In now deleted tweets, this activist juror vividly and openly attacked President Trump and his supporters. Mr. Stone would be put at serious medical risk in prison. He has appealed his conviction and is seeking a new trial. He maintains his innocence and has stated that he expects to be fully exonerated by the justice system. Mr. Stone, like every American, deserves a fair trial and every opportunity to vindicate himself before the courts. The president does not wish to interfere with his efforts to do so. At this time, however, and particularly in light of the egregious facts and circumstances surrounding his unfair prosecution, arrest, and trial, the president has determined to commute his sentence. Roger Stone has already suffered greatly. He was treated very unfairly, as were many others in this case. Roger Stone is now a free man. So there you have it, folks. Exactly. It should have never happened. But this is how the court system operates. It's a political weapon. It's a political weapon. The courts have become so political that there's no distinction. There's no distinction between justice and politics when it comes to the courts. And that's why we lose faith. That's how we have lost faith in our judiciary. The question is, can we recover that faith? Can they earn our trust back? And that all depends on how they move forward. We know the president has nominated over 200 federal judges. So this is, very important. It's very significant. There were so many vacancies left when the president took office, and he had to do his job, and he has. Here we have another disaster declaration for Arkansas. By storms, there were bad storms. Alabama disaster declaration regarding storms, tornadoes, and wind. And here we have 5 stories the president doesn't want you to miss. This is ultimately, it's not a matter of if schools need to open, it's a matter of how. Schools must reopen, they must be fully operational, and how that happens is best left to education and community leaders. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos told governors this week. Well, if you're going to leave it up to a liberal governor, well, they're all going to end up being in like concentration camps, right? I don't know, folks. I don't know. I know what we're going to do. Okay. China never reported existence of coronavirus to World Health Organization. Contrary to claims from both Chinese officials and the World Health Organization, China did not report the existence of the coronavirus in late 2019, according to a WHO timeline tracking the spread of the virus. Rather, international health officials discovered the virus through information posted to a U.S. website. Exactly. Last week's jobs report was good. Here's why the July report will be even better in spite of pandemic fears. The June unemployment report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showed an increase of 4.8 million jobs, Yahoo Finance reports. Now, daily job listing data, especially in the retail and hospitality sectors, indicate that July could be an even stronger month for job growth. Trump committed to helping Hispanics create prosperity through business and education. Miami Herald reports, as the daughter of first-generation Mexican Americans born in a working-class community in Chicago, I know firsthand how important opportunity is in promoting upward mobility and achieving the American dream, writes U.S. Small Business Administrator Jovita Carranza. And creating such opportunity is the central goal behind an executive order on Hispanic prosperity that President Trump signed Thursday. And the media's war on words. National Review reports, every time some new correct speak emerges, CNN and all the media will participate in the browbeating us into subservience. Progressive pundits will laugh off concerns about the Orwellian slippery slope, and all of them will immediately sign on to the next round of rhetoric groupthink and further degrade clear language and clear thinking. David Harsanyi writes. Okay, and statement from the press secretary commemorating 25 years of diplomatic relations between the United States of America and the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. This is very interesting. On July 11th, 2020, the United States of America and the Socialist Republic of Vietnam will celebrate 25 years of diplomatic relations. To mark the occasion, President Trump and President Nguyen Phu Trong exchanged letters noting the shared vision of a peaceful and prosperous Indo-Pacific and respect for each other's country's sovereignty. Both leaders committed to continuing to expand our comprehensive partisanship by increasing people-to-people ties, partnering to ensure that trade and investment is free, fair, and reciprocal, collaborating on humanitarian and legacy of war issues, and growing our strategic cooperation through expanded military ties. The United States also reaffirmed it will stand alongside Vietnam in support of the peaceful resolution of disputes, the rule of law, freedom of navigation and overflight, and unimpeded commerce. We congratulate Vietnam on an outstanding year as the chair of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and are excited to announce that the United States and Vietnam have reached an agreement that will bring Peace Corps volunteers to Vietnam. Yeah, and I think there's also some currency financial issues there too, but that wasn't really mentioned or stressed very much. This was the Southcom visit the president had, and I screen shared some of those clips for you already. This is a counter narcotics operation of the Southcom. You can come to the goldfishreport.blogspot.com and you can check out the transcripts if you'd like to find out more details. But the summary of that has to do, I'll just give you a little summary of this, how the president is strengthening efforts to combat drug trafficking and protect our communities. Earlier this year, President Trump directed his administration to begin conducting enhanced counter-narcotic operations in the Western Hemisphere. This effort is combating the growing threat of narco-terrorists, traffickers, cartels, and criminals exploiting the coronavirus pandemic to funnel deadly drugs into America. To conduct these operations, President Trump directed the deployment of additional ships, aircraft, and security forces to assist in the mission. At the president's direction, the Secretary of Defense later ordered units of the selected reserve into active duty to support forces already engaged in this mission. These military deployments in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific will continue to counter the threat posed by illegal narcotics trafficking and criminal groups. Stemming the flow of illicit drugs, the president's enhanced counter-narcotics operation in the Western Hemisphere are helping to cut off the flow of illicit drugs into America. The United States is working to disrupt the flow of deadly drugs into America from transnational criminal organizations and traffickers, including those tied to the illegitimate Maduro regime in Venezuela. For years, these traffickers have flooded the United States with drugs that threaten the safety and security of all Americans. The United States, along with the 22 partner nations that have joined the fight, have increased surveillance aircraft by 75% and ships by 65% over previous years. Since our enhanced counter-narcotics effort were launched, the United States and international partners have seized more than 120 metric tons of narcotics worth billions of dollars and made more than 1,000 arrests, which you heard the president say in the clip I played earlier. Combating the drug epidemic. Deadly drug supplies have decimated communities across the country, costing precious American lives. I'm a little dyslexic, so sometimes I do get that the letter's a little bit confused. Okay. President Trump has long made it a priority of his administration to end the drug overdose epidemic that kills approximately 70,000 Americans each year. To prevent illicit drugs from poisoning our communities, the president is fulfilling his promise to build a new border wall and secure our southern border. President Trump has engaged with China and Mexico to reduce supplies of heroin, fentanyl, and other illicit opioids. The administration has cracked down on the distribution of deadly drugs over the internet, including shutting down the country's biggest darknet distributor of drugs. Through the president's initiative to stop opioid abuse and reduce drug supply and demand, the Trump administration is leading efforts to reduce opioid supplies, prevent opioid abuse, and increase treatment and recovery services. Okay, let me check in with everybody because we're just about ready to wrap it up. How's everybody doing? Hi, everybody. Yeah, the 5G towers near the schools are a big problem, and I really hope I see that comment that Adam is making there in the live chat. And absolutely, folks, we can't have this next to our kids' school. Not at all. Not good. Not good. Okay, so let's move along and let's finish the rest of this report, which is almost done. Okay, let me see. Hold on a second. President made some remarks outside right before departing on Marine One today. He's on his way. This is when I had said he's on his way to Walter Reed Hospital, going to see some soldiers, our great heroes, our wounded, and some badly wounded. And they're incredibly brave and great people. And we're going to see also the warriors on the front line of COVID, and quite a few of them. And we're going to spend some good time with them, and I look forward to doing it. So one of the questions was, I guess with the press gaggle was, what is your message by wearing a mask today? And the president says, well, I'll probably have a mask if you must know. I mean, I'll probably have a mask, I think, when you're in a hospital, especially in that particular setting, when you're talking to a lot of soldiers and people that in some cases just got off the operating tables. I think it is a great thing to wear a mask. I've never been against masks, but I do believe that they have a time and place. Interesting, right? Mr. President, can you tell us about Roger Stone and why did you not take the advice of the Attorney General who cautioned you against clemency? Oh, that's interesting. Well, he didn't say that. No, the Attorney General about a week or two ago had made a statement, but that was long before anybody knew what I was going to do. Roger Stone was treated horribly. Roger Stone was treated very unfairly. Roger Stone was brought into this witch hunt, this whole political witch hunt, and the Mueller scam. It is a scam because it's been proven false. And he was treated very, very unfairly, just like General Flynn was treated unfairly, just like Papadopoulos was treated unfairly. And of course, President Trump, too. Will you give them clemency, too? He was asked. What I did, well, I'll tell you this. People are extremely happy because in this country, they want justice. And Roger Stone was not treated properly. You see, that's what I said earlier, right? People want justice. They want people who do harm and commit harm against other people. They want them to be held accountable. And people can do so much more healing if the people who, commit these crimes against them and commit these vicious attacks against them, whether physical or economic or political, that cause injury to people, it goes a long way to help somebody heal from it. So it really is important to have justice, and the president's absolutely right. So they're looking, this is we're ready to kind of wrap this up. They're talking about a jury, and he said he had a forewoman who is horrendous. We did talk about this earlier. She should have never been on the jury. The judge should have so ruled. The judge didn't do that. Take a look at the record. The judge didn't do that. He should have had another trial. Roger Stone was treated very badly. Now take a look at Comey. Take a look at McCabe. Take a look at the two lovers, Strzok and Page. Take a look at all these people that are walking around and they lied to Congress and they leaked and they did everything else, a lot of other things. Take a look at Biden, Sleepy Joe. Take a look at those at Obama, and they spied on the Donald Trump campaign. Those are the people. Let me just tell you something. Those are the people that should be in trouble. Oh, yeah. We're waiting for that. We are waiting for that. And now we're going to finish up with our photos of the week, which were for this previous week. This is the White House Coronavirus Task Force on Monday, and they're discussing, many things, but including, how to go back to school, what kinds of things they need to do to get kids back in school. Here we have our wonderful POTUS and First Lady arriving at the National Dialogue on Safely Reopening American Schools in the East Room. So there's the President and First Lady. This is just more from that conference. It's a round table there. You can see it's very big, a lot of people. Yeah, I think this was the room. Yeah. Yeah, this was the room I was in during that infamous, when I was live streaming the president's press conference, and Jim Acosta was that night he had his press pass revoked for um, being physically aggressive with the intern in the microphone situation there, and I'll never forget that. That was really horrible. Okay, and here's more pictures from that. Here's the First Lady, and she's talking, and she's taking a quite a visible role in this, in anything to do with the children. She's right there taking a very visible role, and that's really her. And as a mom, that is really her priority, and you can understand she's there, and she doesn't miss a beat. And then you have also the Vice President and Second Lady Karen Pence there as well. And so there's more photos of this. You can go to the goldfishreport.blogspot.com, and you can come and take a look at these beautiful photos. And everybody is happy and probably very tired from all the high stress job that it is. But here's that the task force meeting here, and there's more people talking. And the Second Lady Pence is talking as well, Karen Pence, and everybody has their masks on, and then sometimes they don't. Because you can't talk, right? You can't talk with the mask on. You really can't hear people that well, right? It's very, very hard. So I put my mask on. Is it easy for you to hear and understand what I'm saying? And the answer is no, you can't. Very hard. Very hard to hear people enunciate. Okay, so let's move along. And then here we have, of course, the Mexican president arriving at the White House and his delegation. And you see the President Trump standing there waiting, awaiting his arrival outside of the West Wing. Look at that. Very nice. President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador outside of the West Wing, right? West Wing lobby. Very nice. And more. Here's the meeting with the Mexican president here, and of course tying up any of the loose ends for the USMCA, at least for the Mexico-USA portion of the deal. And here they are at a press conference outside, a joint press conference, and they signed a declaration in the Rose Garden that day. There they are signing that. Here they are holding that up and holding up the the declaration. Okay, good deals. The president's always, making deals for the United States. Here is Vice President Pence meets with the White House Opportunity and Revitalization Council Executive Director Scott Turner and Troy Vincent in his West Wing office at the White House. There you have it. Vice President's pretty busy too. Look at that, very busy. And here they are, more pictures from that event. And here's the president delivering remarks on the executive order regarding the White House Hispanic Prosperity Initiative. So there you have that. And that's more of that same press conference there. Here's the president signing that executive order. And we're wrapping this up now. And here you have the First Lady visiting young children, women and children living at the Mary Washington House. Mary Washington House is a ministry community home devoted to providing life skills, counseling, educational, and training resources to help at-risk and vulnerable single mothers and their children and young women currently in or aged out of the foster care system. The faces have been blurred to protect their identity. Wow, that's wonderful. That's really wonderful. We really need, I mean, what society really needs is a support system for single mothers and mothers with young children. There's no support when the family, when a spouse leaves or is imprisoned or dies. Then you unfortunately, that breadwinner uh, is gone, and then you have a mother trying to raise their children and struggling very, very much. So sometimes circumstances, it's so easy to try to, and here's more photos from that event. It's so easy to try to criticize and judge people, but you really should be careful. Unless you've walked in their shoes, you have no idea what battles that they have fought. So here you have more little Be Best packages that the White House staff members put together, their boxed lunches for the visit for the members of the women and families of the Mary Washington House. Very nice. Very nice. Here we have also Vice President Mike Pence meets with the North 15th Street standoff officers at the Philadelphia Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge number 5. There you have it. We support our men in blue. Back the blue, President Trump, Vice President Pence says. It's getting a little late. Look at that long day. These people work very, very hard, very long days. And there's a photo of Vice President Pence at the end of the day walking to his car to go back to the White House. And of course, here's the president getting ready to disembark on Marine One. And there they are at Andrews Air Force Base, and the president speaks at members of press aboard Air Force One en route to Miami International Airport for the visit with Southcom. And you can just come here. Here's the president, of course, sitting in front of those bricks of narcotics that were intercepted through Southcom operations. And that's just one example of them. Here's more. These are boxes of DEA evidence, lots of drugs and things that they confiscate. And here's, another few slides about this, about what they're doing, what routes are the problem. It looks like what's on the screen here is they're showing routes of the drug trafficking and the origins of them, because I'm seeing on this next screen here, we've got arrows going and we've got all kinds of other things on there. Yeah. So, and here's the president again, and he is off. He enters through a lower door of the Air Force One. And that's it, folks. That's it for tonight. Now it's a little bit over an hour, and I hope you, enjoyed getting caught up with the president. And I just wanted everybody to hear. I've got my little Air Force One here, right? That I got when I was in D.C., right? But it's really cute. It's really, really cute. Isn't it cute? It's adorable. But it actually makes a sound. So listen to that. Let me see. It's like starting up. You guys hear it? It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool, right? It's cool. Women for gun rights. There we have it. So that's it for tonight, folks. Thank you so much for... Thank you so much for joining me tonight as a single mom. I have to tell you, it's tough. And there's days I want to give up. There's days I feel like it's just never going to change. That, there's never going to be egalitarianism in the courts. Women are going to be exploited. I've been exploited. I continue to be exploited in the courts. There is no, this is there when you're a truth reporter. Just look what they're doing to Assange. So it's, I've been doing this for 5 years, and it's brutal. And of course, the electromagnetic frequencies that somehow mysteriously come into my house and beam me all the time are definitely, give me terrible headaches. So, of course, I showed you pictures of my face burned, that was all burned and swollen. I've really taken a lot of arrows, and it's catching up to me. It really is. I do probably need a vacation, but I can tell you there's no money in this. So there's no vacation either. It would be really nice to have a vacation. It truly would be. Yeah. Yeah. And the problem with that is I would love to homeschool my kids, but I have this really horrible divorce litigation going on that's been going on for 9 years. It's not, about a divorce anymore. This is about the courts using weaponizing the court system to make sure you silence people like myself, to discourage others from complaining about the court, complaining about the fact that there is lack of due process because it's an admiralty law system. We are surety. We are mere surety cattle by our Social Security numbers. We gave up our rights for benefit privilege. It's all hoodwinked. We've all been hoodwinked, folks, but that is how it works. So, we do need to have a change. We need to get out of the admiralty law system and back to natural law because that's, I'm not a vessel, I'm not a corporation, and I'm not dead. Not yet. But when you're in a courtroom, you are. That's why you have to have a lawyer to represent you because you're not allowed to speak. If you've ever been into a courtroom, you're not allowed to open your mouth. You're not even really allowed to turn your head because that's going to be looked at as being, uh, outrageous. You're going to be non-compliant. You're going to misbehave if you give them a look or show that you're surprised that someone can just take your kids from you and you did nothing wrong. It should have never happened to me. What happened to Roger Stone should have never happened to him. But where's the checks and balances? So, folks, nobody knows what struggles people are going through. Nobody knows what battles people are fighting. Just be kind and loving to one another. That's all we can do. Thank you all very much. Yeah. Thank you all very much. I will, Slim. Thank you for that. I have been over there, but I have to be honest with you. Even when you use this technology, uh, and you understand the system, the courts still ultimately, it doesn't matter. They have power. They look at you, they say, we don't care about any of that. We have the guns and we have the power, and we're going to do what we want anyway. There's no due process, folks. There just isn't, unless you have like a lot of money, unless you have a lot of money and you freely to spend in this court system and pay into it because they monetize every docket, goes to the treasury, steals out of our treasury direct accounts. Unless you have a lot of money and keep the motions going for 9 years of litigation, could you imagine how much every time I signed a docket, or anybody signed a docket, can you imagine how much money the courts have made? Because they're all corporations. They're there for profit. So, just a little side note. I just want everyone to know we've got a long way to go, and I think the president, we have 3 branches of government, really 4, because the Treasury should really be its own branch. But we have well, at least on the surface, 3 branches of government, right? And the judiciary, in my opinion, is the broken branch. But there's no checks and balances. There's no checks and balances. So we need to figure this out. We need to figure out how we're going to hold these rogue judges accountable. Because honestly, folks, I think there are a lot of judges who do try to do the right thing. But let me tell you, when you get judges who have vendettas against people, who abuse their power, they're going to make your life a living hell. And they will destroy your life because they can. And is there any recourse? So just like the judge over in Pennsylvania, cash for kids for cash, right? They were sending these kids to detention centers that they were profiting from because they were getting federal money for it. So they were just putting kids in these detention centers for trivial reasons and just destroying these people's lives because they don't care about you and us, you and me. They could care less if they destroy our lives. They don't care. They don't care. So we're all screwed. So everybody, you have a great weekend. I just wish more people would wake up to this because this is the reality of it. Now, unless we have an administration that's going to change this and, give us our natural rights back, then, I just don't see any hope. And that's really the truth of the matter. I thought after how many years? I mean, do I think I would still be involved in this litigation 9 years into this? And it's like, when is it going to end? Is there ever going to be justice? But if you're, they've already bankrupted me, so I can't afford attorneys. So what options do you have? You're shit out of luck, people. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. We're all screwed. So, but you know what? We have to be the check and balance. So sorry about my potty language, but it's the truth and you have to face it. And if they want to fix it, then they need to make, rulings according to our Constitution. And what they're doing, what Judge Sullivan is doing, there's no stopping this man. He will not relent, and he's hoping for a new prosecutor to step up and reissue charges against Flynn. So, there is a problem, and I don't know how to fix it myself, but I think that we need to figure it out collectively and hold them accountable. That we have to be the checks and balances. The judges, though, are appointed by the president, and we do need to at least maybe we should have petitions to get rid of Sullivan. Maybe we should start, because the president appoints these federal judges, and so maybe we should petition to get rid of these rogue bad apples in the system. Because I'd like to think that there is a chance we can restore the trust in our judiciary, and I'm holding out hope that we can. So everybody, sorry, but we're going to go. I'm going to go now. I hope you have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll be back on Monday on BitChute to do our political theater with the Feds, and then we'll see about the rest of the week. So I hope everybody has a great night, and this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.